Can you see my screen page?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys, thanks for joining today. Happy Monday. Just wanted to take some time to talk to you all about the point in time count training that our COC will be doing. So it'll go over some just some basic information about what that is. I see a lot of new faces and names here, so we'll make sure we go over that. We also have a few changes from how we've done things in the past. So if you have done this with us before, there's a little bit that's changed with some of the data we're collecting. So we'll show you that. And then at the end of the presentation, we will show you the two forms that we use. One of those is our actual survey tool that you will use to record the information from those that you find that are homeless on that night. And the other tool is a document that we give to our hotel operators. So like if you go to a hotel and you're checking to see if there's any homeless individuals there, we ask that you have the people at the front desk fill this form out for us. It gives us some information on first-time homelessness and kind of what they see from homelessness on their side of the spectrum. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is also being recorded. I will share this and all the information, so the PowerPoint and the two documents with Paige as well. And so she'll get those to you. If you have any volunteers that will be helping you count, feel free to go ahead and pass this information along to them as well.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Paige. So welcome and introductions. Who I am. My name is Jessica Pauley. I work for the COC as a consultant. So I kind of help on the back end side of a lot of the different things that we do for our COC. For those of you who are not aware, the COC stands for Continuum of Care. That is basically a group of homeless providers across the middle section of Illinois that work together to get funding, put policies in place to help homeless individuals. Okay. Housekeeping, please stay unmuted unless you have a question. If you have a question, feel free to take yourself off and just go ahead and ask. If you need to take a phone call, anything like that, that's fine. Just make sure you're muted and then come back when you can. As I said, this is going to be recorded, so feel free to reference that at any time following. All right, so a pit count, point in time, what is that? What does that mean? So all COCs across the country are required by HUD. HUD is our funder. It stands for the Housing and Urban Development. That is who provides the majority of the money for our COC. And they require us to do this once a year to count homeless persons in our geographic area. So the counties that we serve, basically. We then have to submit our data, all of the data that we counted, to their website. And then the funding that our COC, so our counties that receive for homelessness, is based on the number of homeless individuals that we count, largely. So it's very important to get an accurate count to make sure we have enough funds to serve those in our communities. Okay. So what do we do first? So our point in time count is coming up towards the end of January. So what are some things that we can do now to start kind of getting the framework set for that count? The first thing that we ask you to do is to contact local agencies who you know have maybe given hotel vouchers out in the past. So for instance, if you have a Salvation Army in your area that you know, hey, they provided hotel vouchers to this family maybe last year or to, someone this year, reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm from Illinois Valley. We'll be doing a pit count on this day and we'll be following up to see if you've housed anybody in that time frame. We also recommend that you contact local law enforcement for two reasons. The first reason is to let them know what we're doing so that if you're out canvassing on the night of the point in time count, they'll just be aware. So in case somebody reports, hey, there's a car driving around and looking in the area, the police will kind of have an idea of what you're doing. And two is to let them know if they find homeless individuals on that night, then to let you know so we can get them counted as well. Number 3 is to contact your local hotels. We talked about that a little bit earlier to see, to let them know, hey, well, we're going to be counting on this night. We're going to follow up with you that day just to give them kind of a heads up. And then the last one is to review the pit log for locations to visit during the point in time count. Paige, do you have the old pit logs from the previous years by chance?
Yes. Yes, I have all of them since we started doing this.
Awesome, awesome. So for your counties, please reach out to Paige. She has a list of all the areas that we've counted in the past. So that would be a good starting place to kind of make your list of where to count this year. And then also to kind of use it as a checklist when you're going through. And then after the point in time count, please also give those back to Paige for next year so we can kind of have that to build on going forward. All right. The risk factors form, this is the form that we will be giving to the hotel operators to gain some information on the clients that they serve in their hotels. We'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. So we're going to skip this slide for now. All right, so point in time count changes from last year. The two main areas on the data collection that changed were the gender section and then also the race and ethnicity. So what HUD has done in these two sections is now they're requesting that we check all that apply. So for gender, if you have somebody that reports more than one gender or whatever option, please just mark which options that they say. And then the same thing with race and ethnicity. These race and ethnicity fields have been combined. So you will see on there, which when we show you in a little bit, you'll see on there, they're combined. So if somebody's reporting more than one, that's fine. If somebody reports one, that's fine as well. Just mark all that apply. Our sheltered individuals, so those that are actually housed in a hotel during the time of the point in time count, what we do for those is we pull the information directly off of the computer system, the HMIS system. So as long as they are enrolled properly into a program, I can pull all the needed information off the HMIS for those. Okay, and then in preparation for the count, so number one, you're going to want to make sure you make enough of this copies of the survey tool, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Make copies for the pit log, the ones that Paige has that have the areas written down from where to count. And then the third one talks about making a plan to who's counting at what time, what area. The reason for this is we don't want to count the same individual more than once. So it's very important to kind of have a plan on who's counting where and when so that we don't get duplicate counts of the same people. Okay, and this is a new form. So our COC has a group of individuals with lived expertise, so folks that have been homeless in the past, and they have made some suggestions that they wanted to be included in the training. So this is one of those suggestions. They would like us to speak specifically about cultural competency. So what that means is sometimes due to cultural boundaries, some of the questions on the point in time count survey, individuals may not feel comfortable answering. That is 100% fine. We just ask the questions. If they do not feel comfortable answering, that's fine. Just leave it blank. Okay. You don't have to make up answers there or push kind of for answers. Just leave it blank. It talks about cultural competency is defined as a set of values, behaviors, attitudes, and practices within a system that enable us to work effectively cross-culturally. So basically just being mindful that different cultures may be comfortable with different things. And then alongside this, we want to talk about privacy a little bit as well. Some of the individuals that you speak to may not be comfortable speaking in a large group. So say you're out canvassing with 3 or 4 individuals, they may not feel comfortable speaking freely in front of all 4 individuals. So it's completely fine to ask if they'd like to go somewhere private, and then maybe just 2 of you go speak with that individual alone. So just give them the option of a form of privacy by asking that question. Okay. This slide is also another one that's new this year that was recommended by those lived experience folks about gaining consent. So consent is defined as permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. So it's very important that when we're counting these individuals that we first ask them if it's okay, if they are fine with providing us information. And if they say no, say, okay, thank you, and go ahead and just go on. If somebody is not okay with reporting information, please fill out a form, but just fill it out as with whatever information you have. Where you found them, maybe what they're wearing, what color their coat is, so we can make sure that we don't duplicate counts, but do not push to get information if they're not willing to give it. So here are 3 steps to gain consent for this count. The first one, please be kind. I mean, you guys know that. You guys do that every day, but just a reminder, be kind. Next, we're going to explain what we're doing, explain why we're counting, explain how it helps us get funding to help them, and explain kind of the questions we're going to ask. And then after you've already explained that, then it's okay to ask if they would be able to answer our questions or willing to answer our questions. Okay. All right, so during the count, safety is the first priority. We would like you guys to be safe in all aspects. So please don't go out by yourself anywhere. Also, if you would like to wear a mask or social distance and that makes you feel more comfortable, that's absolutely fine. So whatever your comfort level is, please do that. And then also remember, please always count in at least groups of 2. Okay. The second one, please do not wake somebody up who is sleeping. For their safety and also for your safety. Somebody who's startled awake may not react in the best way. And so we want to be respectful and want to make sure that they feel safe as well. If somebody is sleeping and you go ahead and just write down, maybe where they're at and their color of their sleeping bag, coat, tent, whatever, so that we kind of have an idea and we don't duplicate the count. And then the last one, remember to always treat each individual with dignity and respect. They may be without homes, but they're still very much humans. So you guys know that, but just a reminder, please treat them with respect and kindness. Okay. Actual nuts and bolts pieces of during the count. The counting starts with the point in time survey form. So I'll show you that here in a moment. Please write legibly. If you have handwriting that's sometimes hard to read, please write in block letters if that will work for you. But it is hard to read them because they get scanned in to me from Page. So please just do your best to write legibly, okay? And then on every form, please write the agency name, the county, the region, and the person completing the form. Even if you're doing a bunch of the forms, please write that on the top of every single one. It helps us when we are organizing the data to make sure that that's on each form. We have added checkboxes to the form to hopefully make it easier for you to fill out. And then please also, when you're working with these clients or meeting with them for the point in time count, bring information for them on how to contact your coordinated entry system, how to complete a diversion so they can get into the homeless system and hopefully get some help as well. Okay. All right, so point in time survey questions. These are all, we'll go over the form as well, but these are some of the questions that we ask. We are looking at where they're staying the night of the 23rd, I believe it is. The 24th, sorry. So that'll be one of the questions on there. And then here's some other questions that we'll talk about here in a moment. Okay, for hotel or motel vouchers. So somebody that's staying in a hotel or motel paid for by a different agency. So Salvation Army, a church, SSVF, any of those agencies. It's very important that we gather the following information about the place that's paying for their stay. So we call that person or that agency a sponsor. It's important because when we report that, we have to report who paid for that hotel and kind of where they're located. So here are the questions that we need to gather on the sponsor. So again, that's the person who's paying for the hotel stay, the name of the church or the agency, the address, a contact name for someone there, as well as a phone number, and then the towns and or counties that that agency serves. Okay. Chronically homeless question. This is probably one of the most difficult pieces of the point in time count. So in order to be able to mark yes for the chronically homeless questions on the point in time count survey, the individual must be disabled. Okay, so if they're not disabled, go ahead and just skip those questions and put no. If they are disabled, then they have to meet one of these other 2 requirements. The first one says, have you slept in any of the locations listed in question 1 every night for the last year? Or the second one talks about if they've slept in any of those places 4 or more times in the last 3 years, totaling 12 months. So what that means, we are trying to see if they've been homeless for at least 12 months in the past 3 years. Okay, that's all we're trying to figure out. So if they are disabled and they say, yes, they've got a disability and they've been homeless at least 12 months in the past 3 years, then mark yes. In all other cases, mark no. Okay. Any questions on that? That's probably the most difficult, confusing piece of the reporting. So timing of the count. We are counting where individuals are sleeping on the night of January 24th. Okay, so that is a Wednesday. So talk with Paige. Paige, I'm not sure how you want to do that. I'm sure you guys have a system set up with that. We are trying to find out where they're sleeping on the night of the 24th. HUD allows us to count up to 7 days after that night. So if you have somebody that comes in maybe on Friday, that would be the 26th, and you're doing their intake and you ask them, hey, where did you sleep on the 24th? And they said, hey, I slept outside. You are able to count that person as well. Okay, so up to 7 days after, you can count them. A lot of agencies will start counting at noon on the 24th and then go to like 11:59 the next day. That's fine as well. Just make sure that if you are asking, if you meet with somebody on the 24th, make sure you're asking, where are you sleeping tonight? And then if it's afterwards, then it was, where did you sleep on the 24th? Okay. We've already kind of talked about the rest of that. Paige will have more detailed information for you guys on how your region does the counting. Turning in forms, again, Paige will have more information on you about the due date that she needs you to have them back to her. I need to have all forms scanned and emailed back to me no later than February 10th, Paige. So whatever deadline you need before that, just let them know, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And then questions. Does anybody have any questions so far before we look at the forms? Okay. Okay. So this will be included in information. I'll send it out in an email as well. This is my phone number. Feel free to call me if you're out counting and come up with a question. I will also include my email address to you. And let me pull up our survey form first. Okay. So this is our point in time count survey form for 2024. So the top 6 lines right here, you'll see are those are the parts that you fill out about yourself. What is your agency? What location are you at? What's your name, region, county, and then what time of it is. Please make sure you put AM or PM as well. Again, this helps us make sure we don't duplicate the count, okay? All right, and then the next part talks about where is the individual that you found staying. So are they in an emergency shelter, a hotel? Are they in transitional housing? Are they outdoors? Are they in a vehicle, in a vacant building, or other? So whichever one you click here, then you'll also come over here to the lines next to it and be as descriptive as you can. So for instance, if I mark somebody sleeping outside, please put, on the corner of such and such street or by this building or however specific as you can, just because it helps us not duplicate the count. Okay. If somebody is staying at a hotel or a motel paid for by a church, another agency, that is when you'll fill out the sponsor info. So then we'll do contact name, phone number, address, town served. Okay. This is for how many people are staying together. So how is it how many adults, how many children, what's the group dynamic here? And then for each person, you will also fill out one of these boxes. So the form is actually only a front and back, so it has enough room for 4 individuals. If you need more space, right? Maybe there's 6 individuals, just go ahead and fill out a second form and then staple them together or include them together. Okay. All right, so for each individual, we want their name. If they're not willing to give you their full name, initials work, first letter of first name, last name, whatever will work, whatever they'll give you. Please just record that, okay? Date of birth, the best way to contact. So if it's a cell phone, landline, email, whatever that is, and their contact info. For gender, this is where we have the new gender categories, then also to check all that apply. So you'd mark whatever applies there. If they're a veteran, yes or no. If they have a history of substance abuse, yes or no. A history of HIV and AIDS, yes or no. A serious mental health issue, yes or no. Race and ethnicity, you'll see there also says check all that apply. So if there's multiple ones, go ahead and check there. the household info. So for person one, that would be your head of household. So if that's basically probably the person that you're talking to, so if it's a mom and her 2 children, the mom would be in person one, she would be self or HOH, which is head of household. And then everybody else would be marked according to that. So if like person number 2 was a child, then I would mark head of household's child, et cetera, et cetera. Do they have a disability? Yes or no? If they say no, go ahead and just mark no for chronic homeless, okay? If they say yes, then you'll go back and you'll kind of look through that. Have they been homeless for a whole year altogether? Or have they been homeless for 12 months total in the past 3 years? And if so, then you would mark yes for either one of those. Are they homeless due to domestic violence? Yes or no? And then are they an adult survivor of DV? Yes or no? Okay. In this other notes section, go ahead and just put whatever that you would like us to know if there's something that you would like us to add additionally in there. Or you can also put in there, if they won't provide information, put, characteristics of what they're wearing, maybe where they're at, so we can kind of have some more information to not duplicate that count. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the survey tool? All right, and then pull up the risk factor form. Okay, so the risk factor form is the form that you will provide to those hotel or motel operators, or if you've got somebody like that works at the SSVF and does a lot of intakes, then they can fill one out as well. This is specifically asking questions on what they see when homeless individuals come in, okay? So pretty basic here for these. On average, how many homeless individuals do you have who entered your facility each month? Of these homeless individuals, how many do you believe are homeless for the first time? For these first-time homeless individuals, what reasons do they say cause them to become homeless? What is the biggest reason for these homeless individuals finding housing and getting back on their feet? What's their biggest barrier, basically, for that question? And then where do you refer homeless persons for assistance with housing needs? Okay, so very, very basic. With some information, want to get them on what they see on their end. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions, any comments, anything else that you would like to discuss in regarding the pit? Paige, do you have anything?
Sorry, I was talking, but I didn't realize I was muted.
Okay.
I do have a question. Have you had this training with CEFS yet?
No, we are doing theirs sometime this week. I think it's Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday or Thursday? Okay. Because we share a lot of our homeless clients
Mhm.
get housed, well, get put into the hotel that's in Montgomery County, which they cover. So I just want to touch base with them and let them know, like, hey, we're
Okay.
not, because last year we had a lot of the same people.
Sure. Sure.
We have apps for the people because they're trying to get housed in Macoupin County, but they were actually staying in Montgomery County at the hotel. So I just want to touch base with them. So I will wait and do that early next week.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, and Cindy will be the one. Just reach out to Cindy.
Okay.
Switch departments. So
Okay. Other than that, I do not have any questions.
okay, all right. Well, I will get the recording sent over to you. If somebody has any questions, feel free to reach out through email or whatever, and we'll get those answered for you. All
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
right, thanks, guys.